What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Vinland Saga Season 2. This is episode 24, also the final episode, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah. I mean, not much really happened in this episode other than just showcasing how much of a stranger Thorfinn is coming back to Iceland after all these years.
Yeah, it was mostly Thorfinn coming back home and reuniting with his family.
Yeah, well, initially, like once he first arrives there, some of the townspeople that don't even believe that it's Thorfinn, that it's just a completely different guy that they've never met. And then once Thorfinn ends up seeing his sister, what was it, Ylva, she doesn't believe that it's her brother because she believes that her actual brother Thorfinn is dead, or for going out in the war, or something might have happened. So, despite Leif's attempts to try to convince her that this is Thorfinn, she doesn't believe him and starts, I guess, just she just picks Thorfinn up and just starts throwing him around for whatever reason. So yeah, this almost breaks Thorfinn to the point where he doesn't feel like he belongs there anymore. When because like I said, he's never been back there for all these years due to him being with Askeladd for so long and him being a slave at Kettle's farm.
Yeah, apparently he's been gone for 16 years. And it's kind of funny when they first arrive there, he actually wonders how old he is. He doesn't actually know how old he is.
Yeah, he doesn't even remember when his last birthday was. Heck,
Kind of makes
I don't
sense
even
because
remember.
he's just been so focused on his getting revenge for his father's death for all that time, or most of that time.
So eventually, Leif finally takes Thorfinn to see his mother, and of course, Helga, who's Thorfinn's mother, finally recognizes Thorfinn after all these years, and Thorfinn and his mother end up embracing after all this time. So they do eventually show us a family reunion soon after that. We also see Thorfinn's friend. What was it, Avi or Avi? That's his name.
Yeah. Apparently he's now Ylva's husband, because if we remember in season 1, I think he was I think he was also one of the people that left with Thor's and I think they kind of implied in season 1 like he was trying to get Ylva's affections or something, but I guess he ended up having kids with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so eventually Ylva eventually comes back to the house and once again sees Thorfinn, thinking that he's a stranger trespassing in their house, but Helga vouches for Thorfinn that this is the actual Thorfinn, and Ylva, of course, of course, her first reaction is just to punch Thorfinn almost right through the wall, asking where the hell he's been after all these years. So it's So eventually, Thorfinn brings everyone up to speed of what's happened to him over the years. During his time with Askeladd, his time as a slave, all the people he's lost, his time with Einar over the years, and of course Einar is of course welcomed into the family as Thorfinn's brother. So eventually Thorfinn brings up his suggestion that they all move over to this new land called Vinland, and hopefully build up a new land free of war and slavery.
Yeah, I think his family's still planning to just stay there, but yeah, he tells them that he plans to build a place where people can live peacefully without war, which is the Vinland. And of course, his mother is supportive of his decision and says that he should do it because that was the reason that Thorfinn's father, Thors, and her had left Jomsburg to travel to Greenland to try to escape what was happening there.
Yeah, and near the end of the episode, Thorfinn takes Einar to see this lonely grave up on the hill, or near the edge of the cliff, of a person that Thorfinn's father tried to save at one point.
Yeah.
So they, Thorfinn's dad let this guy to rest, and eventually they reminisce a little bit, and then of course Thorfinn has the vision of his father, apparently being proud of what kind of man that Thorfinn has become right now.
Yeah, well, and also reminding him to, about Vinland, and then of course we cut ahead again to Thorfinn now kind of looking a little bit different, like he's kind of cut his hair, and emerging from his house, I guess, ready to make the journey. Actually, earlier on in the episode, Leif Erikson, when he hears about Thorfinn's plan, he tells him that he's going to need resources and money to even establish this, this country. So I guess it's sort of showing that, that's probably Thorfinn's next step in his journey, is to procure funds in order to establish this country. And it's kind of where we leave things off. I'll be honest, it was fine, but I was a little bit annoyed that they still decided to play the opening and the ending, and they didn't dedicate like more time to other things, like, because I felt like it could have been a little bit of a better, finale episode. Because I was kind of hoping that they would do something similar to what they did in the for the ending of the first season, where they kind of showed some of the other characters that we haven't seen yet. Like in the finale of season 1, we saw Einar, and we even got a glimpse at a character that hasn't shown up yet. They will show up in season 3 if they ever do it, Gudrid. I was kind of hoping that they would do something similar here, where they show some of the characters that we haven't seen yet. I think they did show some characters I wasn't familiar with, though. I can't remember who they are. They might have shown some. There was a woman they showed that I may or may not know who she is, depending on who that baby was in her arms. I'll just say that without spoiling it. But I was kind of hoping they would show some of the other characters that are going to be important characters later on in the story, just to kind of hype people up for a potential season 3. I guess I was just really hoping for maybe some kind of a tease that there will be another season, but we just kind of end off, without anything like that, and it just kind of plays the outro as if it was just another regular episode. So I was a little bit disappointed in how they handled that. I was kind of hoping they would maybe have it be not a longer episode, but just, they didn't have to do all that. They didn't have to play the opening and the ending. So I kind of wish it was given a little bit more time. To kind of
if they wanted
in a better way, but
if they wanted to, they could have merged this episode into the last week's episode in order to, I don't know. I kind of think it would have fit better, but as a standalone episode itself, it was okay, but I really felt like there could have been more put into it.
Yeah, I just felt like I said, I just felt like with the way it ended off, I just wish there was a little bit more to kind of either tease a potential season 3, or just, get people excited for, there being another season. I did hear that they have plans to adapt the entire story, but I am kind of wondering about that, because we didn't get any sort of indication that there is going to be another season. That's kind of what I was hoping for around the end of this episode, was that there would be some kind of something to tease another season, but unfortunately not. It just kind of ends off with, of course, we see Thorfinn emerging from his house looking like, and that is how he looks for most of the rest of the manga. So I guess that's the only real tease we get, is, him looking like that. But other than that, it was just kind of, it just kind of acted like it was just another episode for the most part. But it was still fine. I didn't dislike it or anything. I just felt like it could have ended with a little bit more of a, a little bit more of a bang, I guess, so to speak. But other than that, I thought I thought it was fine.
Yeah, as for the overall season itself, I thought it was pretty well done. Showcasing Thorfinn's development from his time working with Askeladd to pretty much overcome overcoming his guilt and becoming a new person after that.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely it's probably some of the best character development I've seen in an anime or a manga is Thorfinn's character development. So I think that they've done that pretty well in this season. I think it's in that sense it really does kind of go above and beyond season one, even though season one is kind of there to establish that that character development, and it's really something that people I feel like it's going to be a love it or hate it sort of thing for people, because it's, you know, the character he is now is such a contrast from who he was in the beginning of the series. How he's just kind of chosen the route of mostly pacifism as opposed to what he was before. And you know, some people are going to like that, and some people I think are going to be like turned away by it, because I have seen people complain about that. And but some people will actually appreciate his development. So but yeah, I really enjoyed the season overall. I thought it was really great. It's some of the best I've seen from an anime series, for sure. And I really hope they continue on with season 3 and they just keep the same people working on it. I guess they just it'd just technically be I guess MAPPA, but you know, they just keep the same people on for season 3, because I don't want them to like change a director or anything like that, because I think he's doing pretty much an incredible job. I mean, there are some things, like I said, with this last episode I had some issues with. I feel like some things could have been handled a little bit better, but for the most part I think he's done a pretty, you know, he's stuck really close to the manga, so I don't really have any complaints in that regard.
I mean, there were some slight changes here and there.
Yeah, well, like that scene you mentioned in the last episode, I mean, it is different. It was changed for, you know, in the manga it felt like it was a more comedic scene where, you know, Olmar was talking to Thorfinn and saying he wants to become a man like him, and in the manga, of course, his face is all messed up from being punched so much, and it comes off as a more comedic scene because of it. But in the anime, it kind of conveys a different tone because Thorfinn's face doesn't look like that, so it feels like you're supposed to take it more seriously.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, what score would you give this?
I definitely give it I give it a 9. I almost say it's a 10. I either a 9 or a 10. I'm kind of having a hard time deciding. I'd probably go with a 9.
Yeah, I mean, I would hover somewhere close between that, somewhere around 9.5-ish, because I thought it was very, very well done in terms of, like, you know, showcasing the drama and the character development for Thorfinn's character. Same goes with Einar as well, being alongside Thorfinn and showcasing his struggles about like how much he's lost since the start of the season, and basically overcoming that by being with Thorfinn and helping along with his development as well.
Yeah, I mean, Einar is a great character. I mean, people who've read the manga already know that, but I because of how good of an adaptation it was, I think that, you know, anime onlys can appreciate how good of a character he is too. And I also have to commend them for adding some of the anime original content as well that actually kind of adds to Einar as a character, like kind of showing his how they showed his backstory in the beginning of the season. I was definitely not expecting that. So people who actually have read the manga, like myself, are kind of taken aback by that, because we're like, you know, this definitely is not in the manga. So I like that they added little details like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get like a season 3 pretty soon, because I think we waited like 3 years since the first season. Well, that's mostly due to because they changed studios from Wit to MAPPA. But in terms of MAPPA, like, that all depends on how many other projects they're currently working on. I mean, we still have Jujutsu Kaisen coming out next month, and then I mean, who knows when Chainsaw Man's going to be coming back? That's another thing. The same goes with Attack on Titan, but that's going to be ended you know, by later this year, by once they release the final part of their the finale.
Yeah, it might be a while before. I mean, we might have to wait the same amount of time for another season, I would assume, and it might also be a while before they even announce that they're going to be working on another season. But I do remember just hearing or seeing in an interview where they were saying that they do plan to do the whole story up to this point. Of course, it's not finished, but I guess they plan to adapt what's out there so far. Which, of course, by the time they even get to where the story's at now, it could be finished. So I guess we'll see what happens there. Yeah, this has definitely been one of the best anime this season and that's come out recently, in my opinion. So, but I don't have much else to say about it. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
It was a good ride. I definitely enjoyed it for the 24 weeks we got to watch this, and that I would say was definitely an improvement over the first season. I mean, obviously there's not a lot of action that most people really want, but you don't really need to see a lot of action just to enjoy this amount of character development for Thorfinn in particular.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, guys, that all being said, until next time, we'll see you all later.